back to the channel. Today what we're going to be doing is actually rebuilding my diffuser for the Omni there. If you've been following me for a little while and you've been looking on my Instagram, you've seen that I actually used to have a diffuser on there. This is what it looked like. It was made out of tin, and I got the tin material from Home Depot, and I think back then it only cost me a grand total of maybe 50 bucks to create this entire diffuser. The diffuser kind of made a lot of noise. It didn't look all that good, and I do think it actually did some good. It hid a giant area under my car that has a big open area under the car that definitely was capturing too much air and slowing me down. So what I'm going to do today is actually replace it with this stuff here. This is ABS plastic sheet, and I got this stuff off of a website, and I'll throw it up here on the page here. What we're going to be doing is basically replicating what I already have with this ABS plastic sheet. Now there's already a video out there that shows you how to do it, and it's by these guys right here, the Car Passion channel. They show you step by step on how to do this. So I've already kind of jumped ahead and squared away a bunch of my ABS plastic. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is break out all my hardware, and the first thing I got to do is figure out how to mount the dang thing. So on my original design, I created these things, basically little clamps that'll go over the sway bar in the back of the car, and they clamp down, hold on to it, and then the back side of the diffuser just held up by the body. What I'm going to go ahead and do is just unpack all the hardware and get that ready, and then this right here is what I'm going to be using to mount to the actual sway bar of the car. It's just a little bit of slotted angle tubing that I picked up from Home Depot. What I'm going to go ahead and do is take this from an L and turn it into a giant clamp. Basically this end here is going to clamp down on this side there, and this will provide a good foundation for this to grab into the plastic itself, so it doesn't flex around and break any kind of bolts or anything that are inside the plastic. So I'm going to go ahead and start bending this. Got it flat using a very precision instrument. And what we're doing now is I'm getting it to the point where I can clamp it closed. I'm using these bolts that I bought to actually mount these guys on here. What I'm using them for is just to kind of keep the holes centered, because we don't want one end skewing too far forward or too far backwards and then the holes don't align. So what I'm doing now is I'm putting the bolts in segments, and so I'm going to start clamping down and using them to square up the entire piece of bar. Alright, welcome back. So we got the mount plate bolted onto the main body of the diffuser, and what I went ahead and did is on the outside is I just drilled 2 holes just to kind of hold it in place. And now I've got my, I'm just going to call these the shackles. Go ahead and line them up right here and drill my holes, and I'm going to line them up on the bottom and then bolt them like that. And there we go. So got the shackles bolted on. I had to do a little bit of clearancing, but they're pretty much on there. So I got 1 bolt on the outside of each side, and what that's going to do is going to help keep the sides of the diffuser from bowing out or flexing, and that's what this plate will also do. So I just need to drill a hole here and drill a hole here, and then secure the rest of it, and then we got to start working on the strakes. We got the main body of the diffuser actually attached to the car with the shackles, and I've been spending a little bit of time mocking up a piece of cardboard for the strake design that we're going to go with. But I had to make sure that before I just started hacking away and making some triangles, I had to make sure that all my angles were right. So the way I've done that is I took a piece of bar stock and I kind of zip tied it to the wheels, and I made sure that it was level with the actual body, because the car is currently up on, up on these wheel stands. And I made sure to come out here so you can see where the end of the diffuser comes out on the top, and then the level of where it needs to stay, so that way it stays level with the ground. So I took that cardboard piece and I've been cutting away at it and slowly just placing it up to make sure it actually follows the contours of the actual body of the diffuser, and then we came up with this. This is the strake design that we're going to go with. Spent a little bit of time cutting away at it, but I'll show you what it looks like underneath the car, and then we'll go ahead and cut this out, trace it out on our actual ABS plastic down there, and then we'll start cutting and then figure out a way to mount the dang thing. But let me show you what it looks like mounted up to the main diffuser body. Got it being held up by a jack stand with a piece of foam, that way it's not punching a hole straight up and it's even all the way across. But here's our strake design. Pretty much just going to go like that. Figure out a way to mount it up to the actual car. But it's important to have it as close to the body as possible. That way you minimize any kind of gaps. I don't want any big gaps like here. So luckily that's going to be just pressed up and fit. So let's go ahead and make some copies with this on our plastic and start cutting. And just like that, we went from cardboard to plastic. So it actually really helps to have a good cutting tool. This is the Bauer jigsaw from Harbor Freight with the jigsaw blade set I got for $14.99. The actual jigsaw I got for 40 some odd bucks, so $60 at Harbor Freight. Cuts this out pretty dang easy. I will say it really helps to have a friend to hold this stuff down while you cut it. Otherwise you're going to be chasing this all over the place. Go ahead and get the other strakes cut out. We're going to go with 6 strakes and then figure out how to mount it onto the car by making some L brackets. Alright, so we got 3 of the strakes cut out. Now what we got to do is we actually have to take our template and then flip it over and reverse it, because if we don't, then each one of these strakes is going to have the textured side going out throughout the entire body of the diffuser. So what we want to do is actually flip it so the smooth side is facing on the end. So what we're going to go ahead and do is just make 3 more strakes, but flip the template over and then mount them up, see how they look. Alright guys, so we did the last 3 strakes and we are officially going from this little piece of tin foil to this. So this is the mock-up. All the strakes are just on there taped together. But as you can see, the reason why we flipped the strakes is the outside strakes on either side are going to have the textured, while the inside of the strakes are going to have the smooth face. So all I have to do next is take that aluminum bar that's actually zip tied to my wheel, and I have to cut those into segments so that way I can make brackets to put here on this little section and then actually bolt the strakes to the actual body of the diffuser. But that's going to be tomorrow. Yeah, the next part of this video is going to be probably the next day or probably the day after that. But cool, see you in a second. And welcome back. So it's the next day. I'm back in the garage. It's a little bit quieter, a little bit slower pace today. But this aluminum bar here that I got from Home Depot is 48 inches long. So what I have to do is, because I have 6 strakes that are going to go behind on the diffuser, I need to figure out how many little tabs I need to cut to make brackets to mount the strakes actually to the body. So here's what I've done. I took one of the strakes and I just kind of figured out, kind of spaced out even where my tabs need to go to mount it to the main body. So since I have 6 strakes and I have 48 inches to work with, I did some quick math and I found that 48 divided by 6 equals 8, meaning I can have 8 1-inch tabs mounted on each strake to mount to the diffuser body. I don't really have a more efficient method. Alright, welcome back. It's another day. So I have got all of my little tabs cut and drilled. 2 holes on them. Currently got the diffuser out here on my tailgate of my truck here. And we are mocking up the strakes. So what I'm currently doing is I'm going over here to the left corner. This part that's going to be sticking out of the rear. And I'm taking my outermost strake, the one that has the texture, this is going to be on the outside, and I'm laying it up and I'm getting it nice and flush with the edge. So what that's going to allow me to do is to figure out my spacing for my L bracket to hook on, just like so. There's going to be a little bit of a lip on that edge to compensate for the thickness of the strake, so that way when it's finally mounted, it'll be nice and flush down the whole side. Alright, so I got 3 of the L brackets down. If I take the outermost strake and I just set them up against there, see that it's pretty flush with the edge, which is what I want. Alright, all the L brackets are now attached. Just kind of loosely installed right now, just so we can get the measurements of the strake down packed. But I've gone ahead and drilled down one side straight through the strake, and I'll show you that's what that gap looks like before you do the countersink. So I'm going to do the countersink real quick and show you how flush that we can actually get that bolt there. And that's kind of what you're left with after you do the countersink. Now, as I work my way down the line with these other L brackets, I want to make sure that I'm getting the strake as tight as possible to the main plate as I can to minimize the air gaps that you can actually see right here. So what I'm going to do is, this one's already secure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and lift the plate and I'm going to kind of flex it upwards. I'm going to make sure that this stays as tight as I can make it against the main diffuser plate. So I'm going to go ahead and make a mark right there, drill a hole, and then secure it, and then just repeat the process down the entire line. Good morning. So coming back outside to a kind of cold, rainy morning. The rain's kind of hitting a little bit, but not really going to stop me from actually getting this done today. So this morning we got the rest of the strakes kind of mocked up, and I come to realize that these little squares that they put on the easy rule are not very accurate. So as I go down the line, suddenly 42 inches is kind of separated between the two. So if I mark out where I want it to be, or if I just use that easy rule, it's going to throw off all my measurements. So I'm sticking with a tape, as you should. But come here to notice a different problem. The whole thing is 48 inches wide, and I have 6 strakes. 48 divided by 6 is 8 inches. But if I put the strakes 8 inches apart, the middle is a big gap. So I need to figure out what the proper spacing needs to be to get all of these channels evenly spaced. Sometimes I feel like an idiot. So the answer was staring me right in the face. I have 6 strakes total over 48 inches. But because I have 6 strakes, it means I have 5 air channels. 48 divided by 5 is 9.6 inches. So that's got to be the spacing between them. It's early. Okay. So that's where they'll be staked down. And this is what I mean by 5 channels. So six strakes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 channels is what I made. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 48 divided by 5 channels, 9.6 inches. So if I take my tape measure here, should be 9.6. So just after the 9.5 mark there. So 9.6, which is roughly about like 9 5/8. 9 5/8, 9 5/8, 9 5/8, 9 5/8. So now I'm gonna get my brackets and I'm just gonna go down the line and make it all even. I got all the strakes on there. Found out that 4 of the little tabs are all that's really necessary to keep these strakes nice and secure. So the only thing I got left to do is I have to drill some holes to mount it to the back of the car here. I'm going to drill some bolts straight through the bottom, and then I'm going to keep these, or yeah, I'll figure that out in a minute. But I think I can go ahead and take off the film that's on here because I don't need the easy ruler anymore. I'm going to go ahead and take my countersink and drill out everything that the screw head is on, and they are machine screws, I looked it up. And I'm going to go ahead and countersink those so they're a little flat, more presentable. And then we'll go from there. I need to cut this extra off right there, and then on that side, and then throw it up under the car and mock everything up. Probably the best part of this whole process. Nice and shiny. I forgot to record a couple things because I was just in a rush to get this done, but it is done. It's put together. All the screws have been tightened down. I even went ahead and ground these flat, as flat as I could, and ended up actually melting the plastic a little bit, which just kind of secures it a little bit better. But it's nice and sturdy. It's not going anywhere. I went ahead and peeled off all the plastic. So as you can see, as you look down this side, there's the textured side, and all the texture is on the outside, while the smooth side is always on the inside. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is crawl into the car and bolt it to the swing arm using the shackles, and then figure out where I need to put my holes for the mounts to the actual back of the car need to be. So I'm going to crawl into there, go ahead and put those together, then we'll be right back. Alright, so we're back under the car. It is attached, it's fastened, the shackles are secure, as we can see back there. Now all I got to do is basically lift this up into place and secure it. So this wasn't really planned, but this bolt here actually touches the top of the bumper here. Same thing with this guy here. So what I figured I'm going to do is I got these bonded sealed washers, and I'm basically taking the rubber side and placing them upward, and I've drilled the holes out, and I'm basically going to push that up and then secure it from the top side, and do that for the same side over here, and it should be nice and secured. And then I'm going to do one here for the middle, and then probably one on either side of that, so it'll be nice and secure and won't come down. Additionally, I'll be using some red thread locker to make sure that those nuts and bolts don't go nowhere. So let's go ahead and get this kind of situated using a sponge so I don't scratch the underside of this all up. And then I'll kind of elevate it nicely. That way I don't have to struggle too much with it. There we go. Alright, take that thread locker. Don't need much, just a little bit. It smells like cherry. Okay, that's one side. Let's get the other. Same thing, just a little bit of thread locker. Don't need much. Just a little drop. Do just fine. Alright, take that little nut. Pink that up there. And the other thing that's kind of holding it is just the tension being on the bottom. And there we go, folks. All the way down on the ground, off the ramps. It is fully attached, bolted in, and it's not going anywhere. Now, one of the last things I'm going to do for this project before calling it good is edge trim. Picked this up at AutoZone for only $15.99. Out the door, it's 18 feet. It's just regular black edge trim. And on the inside of this is an adhesive that bonds to the edge of the diffuser, or any kind of edge. So basically all I'm going to do to kind of give this a more completed look is to just continue on around all these edges and clean up this really sharp edge with a nice clean look. So I'm going to get that knocked out and then we'll close up this video. And just like that, we are done. It really cleans up the diffuser and really gives it a nice finished look. And I could not be more happy with the outcome than that. I think it looks sick. Anyway, that's gonna do it for me on this video, guys. So if you liked this video or found something interesting, go and hit that like and subscribe button. I'm always looking for cool people to hang out with. If you like this content, please keep on following. Go check out that Car Passion channel as well. Big shout out, thank you to those guys for actually making the video and inspiring me to actually put one on mine. But anyway, that's gonna do it for me. So see you later.